Today, I'm diving into one of the biggest shockers in recent NBA history, the trade of Luka Dončić to the Los Angeles Lakers. Was this just a roster move, or was it a master plan orchestrated by the league? On February 1st, 2025, the Dallas Mavericks traded their 25-year-old superstar, Luka Dončić, the one-man show who carried them to the finals just last year, to the Los Angeles Lakers. In exchange, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. Negotiated in secret with no bidding war, this deal left fans and analysts stunned. Many called it lopsided, favoring the Lakers big time. So, what's really going on here? First, I'd like to frame this conversation by looking at the historical favoritism that has been awarded to the Lakers organization. To keep this from spiraling too far out of control, we will only look back to 2014 when Adam Silver took over as league commissioner, which actually greatly favors the Lakers in this conversation, as I won't even cover how they ended up with Magic Johnson or Elgin Baylor. Since 2014, the Lakers have had an unusual run of good draft lottery selections, which is amazing because of how awful the team has been in the last decade. There isn't much room to outperform when you're selecting at the top of the lottery, but somehow they still manage to do so. Over the last decade, the Lakers have outperformed their projected draft position by 6 total picks, better than where they should have ended up, or just short of 1 pick on average higher than where their record indicated they should have been per draft, where they used their own pick. This may not seem like a lot, but again, given how bad the Lakers have been in most of these instances and what poor luck other franchises have had, it is quite unusual to have this kind of consistent luck. Another part of the reason the NBA would be interested in moving Luka is because of the Lakers' recent performances. Since the Mickey Mouse Championship in Orlando during COVID, the Lakers have went 42-30 in the 2020-2021 season, or a 58% win rate, which was third overall during a shortened season which catered to an aging LeBron and an injury-prone Anthony Davis. During the next season, they went 33-49 in the 2021-2022 season, or a 40% win rate, which was good for 14th overall. The next year, they went 40-43-39 in the 2022-2023 season, or a 52% win rate, which was good for 14th overall again. And the most recent complete season, they went 47-35 in the 2023-2024 season, which was good for a 57% win rate, which was 12th overall. A middling team at the best. This season, before trading Luka, the Lakers were 31-19, which was good for a 62% win rate. However, after trading for Luka, they are now 10-5, or a 66% win rate, catapulting them to second place in the West before a recent string of losses. Although these numbers may look good, you also have to keep in mind that LeBron will be retiring soon, and the Lakers will need a cornerstone replacement type player to build around. Also, Anthony Davis is a 32-year-old, and nothing ages worse than a big man in the NBA. I mean, he didn't even get to play one complete game for the Mavericks before he suffered an injury from which he has still not returned. Who better to insert than the generational talent and one-man show who carried the Mavericks to the finals last year? So let's look at the timeline of events to break this down a little bit deeper. Late in 2023, Mark Cuban sold his majority stake in the Mavericks. Mark Cuban, the Mavericks' longtime owner and a fiercely protective figure over Luka Dončić, sold his majority stake to the Adelson family, known for their casino empire, the Sands Corporation. There was also the very eyebrow-raising fact that Mark Cuban sold the Mavericks for under the projected value one would have thought the team would have commanded, especially given the sale price of the Phoenix Suns in the most recent transaction. It also was very curious that Mark has claimed multiple times that he would still be in charge of basketball operations, which obviously never happened. These facts were also echoed recently on the Hoop Collective.
Yeah, so McMahon, you remember when the Mavericks sold?
I do.
They sold for, I think, $3.5 billion, less than the Suns, which to this day remains a fascinating development because I think Dallas is a bigger and better market than Phoenix, and no one seems to talk about why Cuban gave him a discount. And maybe we'll see in time, but I just don't get it. But forget about that. You remember what Mark Cuban said when the team was sold? You reported it.
Yeah, he'll be in charge of basketball operations. He said it on background to me and a bunch of other people's, and then he said it publicly. But the thing he said to me right after the sale was he would be in charge of basketball forevermore.
Forevermore, right?
Forevermore.
I couldn't remember the terms that he the actual verbiage, but I remember it was something like in perpetuity or something like that.
And then he held it wasn't a press conference. It was after one of Cuban's pregame 3-point shooting sessions when he kind of held court with the media, and he went on and on about having control of basketball operations. And, they're about real estate. I'm about basketball. That's why it's a perfect fit. And obviously, I don't know if Cuban was flat lying or if he was trying to speak something into existence, but it was not ever part of the discussions. It was not part of the contract, and it was not reality, as we now know, certainly beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I believe these 2 points just further the fact that Mark was forced out and fed false promises that were never intended to be kept. Cuban retained a 27.7% minority stake, but stepped back from daily operations, with Patrick Dumont, the Adelson's son-in-law, and an investment banker with no basketball background taking over as the team's governor. This shift diluted Cuban's control, potentially making the franchise more vulnerable to external influence. I think the league may have approached Cuban, telling him that he may have to trade Dončić in the few next seasons for the good of the league if ratings didn't turn around and LeBron was going to retire. And if Cuban didn't cooperate, they could have threatened him with digging up past allegations of misconduct within the Mavericks organization and forcing him out, like they did to Robert Sarver, disgraced Phoenix Suns owner, most recently. There have also been very weird comments recently by Mark Cuban stating that the reason he sold was because what if his kids had to make the decision, like trading Luka?
You don't have regrets about selling the team?
Sometimes I get mad and I wouldn't have done this, but, no, not really, because, go back to why I sold. Mm-hmm. I don't want my kids to end up in this exact position at some level if they made a mistake, right? I mean, literally imagine if I didn't and my kids had taken over and they made a mistake like this.
From there's been a decrease overall in the ratings in the last couple of years, culminating this year with a huge drop. By the 2024-2025 season, the NBA was grappling with a persistent decline in viewership. These rating declines were a major talking point for sports media and put undue pressure on the league to make a major move to shake up the NBA and draw viewership back to the league, which dumped fuel onto this fire. Major markets like Los Angeles were critical to reversing this trend, but the Lakers, despite their global popularity, struggled to maintain dominance as LeBron James is in the twilight of his career. The league needed a boost to its flagship franchise to drive national interest in television ratings and decided to shatter the glass in case of emergency, demanding Luka be traded to the Lakers. This has worked in spades, as at the beginning of the season, before the Luka trade, the NBA was down 19% in TV ratings in a year-over-year basis. Whereas post-trade, the viewership across the major networks is now up 1% over last year's numbers. ESPN consistently covers the Lakers, with multiple hosts claiming that it's good for the sport when LA and New York are relevant. So I'm sure they are giddy with this outcome. So let's cover the trade. In a blockbuster move, the Mavericks traded Luka Dončić, their 25-year-old superstar and MVP contender, to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. Negotiated in secrecy with no apparent bidding war, the trade stunned analysts who saw it as lopsided in favor of the Lakers, given Doncic's youth and potential versus Davis's age and injury history. Mavericks GM Nico Harrison called it a win-now move, but the justification rang hollow to many. The trade secrecy and lack of a bidding war are striking. For a player of Doncic's caliber, teams typically shop widely to maximize their returns. Yet, the Mavericks only engaged deeply with the Lakers, accepting a modest package, an aging Davis, a role player, and a distant pick. This suggests a rushed or directed process, possibly influenced by the NBA to favor the Los Angeles Lakers over competitive balance. This left most of LA's core intact, including some of their best auxiliary players, instead of stripping their roster and giving up multiple unprotected picks, which is what superstars typically command in this type of a trade. Also, by trading Dončić in season immediately before his contract was up, the Lakers also gained a huge advantage in that he is no longer eligible to sign his Supermax contract this summer. So, instead of receiving a 5-year, $345 million contract, he can only sign a 4-year deal for $229 million. This maneuver saves the Lakers $12 million each year, and in a post-apron salary cap landscape, that makes a huge difference. And it's not like the league has never openly intervened in trades before, so why wouldn't they do it secretly now? Most notably vetoing Chris Paul's move to the Lakers in 2011 for basketball reasons. While that involved a league-owned team, it shows the commissioner's authority to shape transactions. Adam Silver, with his centralized control, could have subtly encouraged or pressured the Mavericks to align with the league's broader interests, especially amidst the rating slumps. The Adelson family's takeover in late 2023 introduced inexperienced leadership that may have had its own agenda. Patrick Dumont, lacking basketball expertise, might have been more susceptible to league guidance than Cuban, who once vowed never to trade Luka. The Adelsons' gambling ties also align with the NBA's growing sports betting partnership, not only potentially incentivizing the league to ensure the Lakers, a massive betting market, stay competitive, but there is also a theory that the new ownership would be open to tanking the team's favorability and sabotaging the Dallas fan base in an attempt to move the franchise out of Texas, where gambling of all sorts, including sports betting, is illegal. What could be better than having a sports venue and an arena all in one? This theory was only furthered by public statements, including harsh criticisms of Doncic's work ethic and fitness, which have only deepened fan outrage and stoked rumors of an eventual franchise relocation to Las Vegas. This ownership shift could have been exploited by the NBA to push its agenda, which could also benefit the Adelsons directly. So, was Luka's trade a fair basketball swap, or a calculated move by the NBA to juice ratings and prop up LA? The Lakers got a steal, the league got a boost, and Dallas got questions. The pieces fit a conspiracy, but you decide. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this a legit trade, or did Adam Silver play puppet master? If you love this deep dive, hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos, subscribe and ring the bell so YouTube will let you know when I release new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.